Welcome to Greenshoe Radio, brought to you by Greenshoe Media Group. I'm your host, Mark Bunting. Our guest today is Jim McDonald, co-founder, president, CEO, and a director of Kootenay Silver Incorporated, ticker symbol KTN on the TSX Venture Exchange. Now, Kootenay Silver is a TSX Venture 50 company this year. As far as Jim, he has more than 30 years of technical and financial experience in the mining sector, including more than 20 years in Mexico. He's a professional geoscientist. Jim also co-founded National Gold, which merged with Alamos Minerals, which became Alamos Gold, a very well-known company to precious metals investors. And Jim is also a co-founder and director of Northern Vertex Mining Corp. Good to see you, Jim. Thanks for talking to us.
Thanks, Mark. It's a pleasure to be here.
Now, you've run Kootenay Silver for quite a while, so you are well-versed in giving a nice, concise pitch on the company for those who may not be that familiar. So could you give us a little elevator pitch on Kootenay Silver?
Sure. So Kootenay Silver is a junior exploration company focused on silver, and because of that, we're really focused in Mexico. That's where the biggest silver-producing region in the world. And we're a discoverer. We've got grassroots exploration. We generate new projects. We make drill discoveries. We have 3 deposits discovered already, 2 of which have 43-101 calculations done on them, totaling over 144 million ounces of silver equivalent in measured indicated categories, and another about 24 million in inferred. So we offer 2 things here. We've got a real good leverage to the silver price because of our resource asset base. And we've also got new projects in the pipeline here, specifically the Columba and Copa Leto properties in Mexico, which are classic high-grade Mexican vein systems. And high-grade is really exciting to investors because they have good margins at any kind of silver price, and the discovery of a new high-grade deposit adds a lot of value very quickly to a junior company.
And Jim, before we get to your most recent drilling results, we know that you had to suspend operations temporarily because of the pandemic. So where do we stand there?
Yeah, so at the end of May, the government in Mexico has started opening things up, declared certain industries vital industries, mining, exploration being one of them. And so now we're allowed to restart as of the 1st of June. So we are mobilizing crews in as we speak to get our Columba camp going again, and the Copa Leto camp where we had just initiated drill programs before the shutdown. So probably by mid-month, we'll be drilling both projects again.
Jim, in January, you were interviewed and you said the next 6 months for the company would be pretty exciting. So we're about 5 months into that. You mentioned the pandemic sort of delaying things a little bit, but you have released some drilling results on the Columba mine. So give us a sense of the grade and how excited you are and what you're finding.
Yeah, so the reason I said that is because we had 2 big drill programs about to start. Columba, where we're starting 7,000 meters program of over 40 holes, following up on great results from 2019. And we just gotten underway. 10 holes were completed before things closed down, and we started getting assays in. In the last few weeks, we've been putting 2 news releases out on those 10 holes, getting really nice results, some of the highest grade that we've gotten to date. I think the highest grade intercept was just over 2 meters of 2,000 gram per ton silver on that main structure, or the hang wall to that main structure. So we continue to see lots of results in the 400 plus gram range, and are getting some of the best results we've seen. So we're quite excited about that.
And then with Copa Leto, I know you were planning to start drilling in March. I understand you got started and had to abort pretty quickly. What's the status there?
Yeah, we've just gotten everything set up, nicely set up, and the program underway, and 1 hole finished. So, and we didn't even get the samples into the assay labs before they closed down. So now they're in there, and we're waiting for those results. And just like Columba, now we're able to reopen. So We're mobilizing crews in this week to get everything prepared and ready for restarted drilling. And in the case of Copa Leto, this is the very first time that property's ever been drilled. It's quite an incredible situation to find such a vein system with no drilling on it. And so we're quite excited to get back in there. And the objective this year is the first pass will be 3,000 meters of drilling and just go around and test some of these veins that we've been sampling and mapping over the last couple of years. So quite excited to get that going, probably by mid-June.
Now, Kootenay Silver has a number of different assets. You're also a prospect generator, but is it safe to say that Columba and Copa Leto are your flagship mines that you're the most excited about?
Well, in that there are lead projects right now, that's for sure. They are not the properties where our resource bases are or our deposits are. But because of that high-grade nature, and in particular Columba now, we've got over 50 holes there and lots of really great results. So we're starting to see very strong evidence at Columba that we're onto a significant discovery. So yeah, definitely our lead projects and definitely driving the excitement in the market.
As far as share structure, we saw Eric Sprott, a very well-known precious metals investor, come into the company a while ago, investing $5 million. So he's got nearly 11% of the outstanding shares. You've got officers and directors, including yourself, with about 8%, Pan American Silver with 6%, and then Core Mining, Agnico Eagle. So what do you think that says to the market? What does it say to shareholders that you've got the likes of Sprott and those individuals and those types of company names as stakeholders?
Well, it's certainly a stamp of approval and a certain level of vetting of the quality of our projects. When you see Eric Sprott come in, he's got a very good sense of good projects, good companies, good people. And then the fact that some of the major players have invested in Kootenay in the past, several major players based in different discoveries we've made along the way, is the same statement. So Pan American came in because of our La Negra discovery in 2015. Core Mining was because of the La Cigarra discovery, and Agnico Eagle was because of our original Promontorio discovery. So we've got for a junior company, we've got a very well-rounded group, management and board level of people, right from grassroots exploration, right up through drilling, feasibility study, mine building, and mine operations and the financing thereof.
Jim, you say that Kootenay Silver is very nicely leveraged to silver. So let's talk about the silver price. Prior to the pandemic, prior to these unprecedented projects that the Fed has put into place, or these programs rather, and rescue packages, basically, you had said that already what the Fed was doing was a tailwind for the silver price. So what do you think now, based on the money printing that the Fed is doing? What does this mean for silver, and what could and should it mean for the gold silver ratio? I know there's kind of two questions in one, but what do you make of the silver price right now?
Well, as opposed to a tailwind, it's a gale force wind now. It really is a setup for precious metal bull market, which I believe we were already in, particularly in the gold side, at the beginning of the year. Now with this incredible rate of money injection and creation that has never been seen before, that those factors are even stronger that were driving the gold and silver prices before. In that regard, it's similar to that 2008-2009 period. And we know what happened to gold and silver prices then. This is even on a bigger scale. And so that's what I see and what I believe happening there. And as is typical in the past, that gold-silver ratio it fluctuates dramatically. It's a very erratic up and down chart. It's like a sawtooth when you look at it over 30 or 40 years. And so to say there's an average is pretty difficult. But if you take a median line, you're always falling in that sort of 50 to 60 ratio range. And until last week, the ratio was over 100, which is on the very extreme historic high end. And it always reverses. And when it reverses, it can do so very quickly and then overshoot that median line pretty dramatically. It does so in both directions. And we've seen it on the high end. And so it gives the silver investor a lot of extra leverage in regards to investing in precious metals when those ratios are out of whack on the high side. And so that's our expectation. We think it's going to come back to the median, revert to the median, and overshoot it, and perhaps by quite a bit. But so we're quite, in other words, very bullish on the silver price.
Now, Jim, I mentioned that Sprott investment, which came a little while ago. So at last report, the company has about nearly $8.5 million in cash. So are you nicely funded for the rest of the year? What are some of the milestones that investors can expect for the rest of 2020? And I guess another part of that question would be, is there an end game, or is it too early to say that about Kootenay Silver in terms of proving it out, and then maybe one of these investors comes knocking and says, "Hey, we love what you have," and maybe they make an offer?
So yeah, a number of things going on. We are well financed. I think you're referencing probably the year-end fourth quarter numbers, and so right now we're just over about $6 million in cash. We've been doing some drilling. We're going to get back to drilling. We will exit the year with between 2 and 2.5 million after having drilled 10,000 meters on the two projects. And so we're well funded for this year's program. And our objective here is to define a high-grade resources at both Columba and Copa Leto here for 2020. I mean, we won't be defining these resources, but confirming with drill discovery. What will have to happen then is follow-up infill drilling. So right now our focus on Columba is, let's see how big this mineralized zone, particularly in the F vein, is going to be. See if we have other similar zones on the numerous other veins that we drilled last year with positive results. And then once we see that, we can start to think about infill drilling leading to resource calculation and PEAs, etc. If it all goes well, new high-grade discovery is very attractive to any mining company. And, our hope at that point is that, we will be making a sale of that asset or the company and then spinning the other assets out and doing it again. So that's sort of the general high-level objective here on these projects.
All right, very good. Is there anything we didn't touch on, Jim, that you'd like to mention?
Well, I think we've really covered it well, Mark. So definitely got the high points. So
all right,
I think we did it.
Okay, I'll just say thank you very much for joining us, and we'll talk to you again. Thanks very much, Jim.
Yeah, you're welcome, and thank you.
You've been listening to Greenshoe Radio, brought to you by Greenshoe Media Group. Our guest was Jim McDonald, co-founder, president, CEO, director of Kootenay Silver Incorporated, ticker symbol KTN on the TSX Venture Exchange. I'm Mark Bunting. Thanks a lot for listening, and we'll talk to you next time.